Hi Year 9s, welcome. We're carrying on with Quadratics today. We're doing exercise 19G, which is quadratic word problems. Now I might do one of these from your textbook, but I've selected some from another textbook which are similar, I think, to the ones that you might be doing today. Let's take a look at number 1 here. Well, what information do I have? I've got two numbers which differ by 3, and they've got a product of 8, and I've got to find them. Well, let's call the first one x, and then the second one we can call, let's say, x. If they differ by 3, it could, if we're thinking that x is the higher one, then the lower one would be x is x minus 3. I could change it and do x as the lower one, and then x plus 3 is the higher one, but I think I'll do this. And they differ by 3, and they have a product of 88. A product, that means times, doesn't it? So we're going to go x times x minus 3 equals 88. And then that gives us x squared minus 3x equals 88. Oops, I shouldn't have that first equal sign there. And then I'm going to bring that 88 across to this side here so that I'm left with 0. Now at this point we've got to think, what are the factors of 88 that add to minus 3? You can see it's a type 4, which means that we're going to have mixed brackets. We're going to have one minus and one positive. And the difference between the factors must be 3, and the bigger factor must be negative because of this negative here. So let's think about our factors of 88. 1 and 88, well, they're not different by 3. 2 and 44, no, 3 doesn't go into it. 4 times 22, no, 5 doesn't go into it because it doesn't end in 0 or 5. 6 doesn't go into it. 7 doesn't go into it. 8 and 11 go into it, and 9 does not go into it. So it must be this lot, and you can see that the difference between them is 3. So we put our bigger number as negative and our smaller one as positive. And so this should give us our answers for x. So we could now say that x must be equal to 11, since in the first bracket, if we make it equal to 11, we'll end up with 0. 11 minus 11 is 0. And 0 times anything is 0. Or minus 8. And we're just going to think about, since we're just in, we're just going to think about the positive value here. If that is our value for x, then the other value is therefore x minus 3, which is 8. So the two numbers are 11 and 8. Now let's think about question 2. In question 2, what do we know? The product of two consecutive odd numbers. Now think about your odd numbers. 1, 3. Consecutive means next to each other. 5. And you can see that they go up in 2s, right? Every odd number is 2 apart from the previous one. So we can write our first odd number is x, and our second number is x plus 2. And we're talking about the product of these. So that means this multiplied. And the product of these is 143. Okay, well, we'll expand our bracket to get x squared plus 2x is equal to 143. We will pull that 143 across. And now we've got to think of the factors of 143. Now this is a little bit harder probably than the ones that I will give you. Because 143 is not in your well-known sort of times tables list, is it really? However, what is it? 11, and I think it's 11 times 13. Let me just check. 10 times, yeah, 11 times 13 is, okay, so we're looking at the factors are 11 times 13. So you'll have an easier one than this to do. Now, if the factors are 11 and 13, and we know that it's type 3 because we've got a minus here, so they're mixed signs, and then the larger one must be positive. So we want a 13 here and a negative 11 here. And at this point we can say, well, our value that we're going to think about is 11 and minus 13. Now we can ignore the minus 13. We're thinking about consecutive odd numbers, so we're just going to say 11 and 13, which we already worked out when we did this here. Okie dokie. So the next one, we have a rectangle which has a length that exceeds the width by 7. Now, perhaps I could just quickly sketch this for number 3. If this is the width, the length is got an extra 7 to it. And we know the area of the rectangle is 60 according to the question. So we can say x times length times width is equal to 60. We can expand it out, so that would be x squared plus 7x equals to 60. We could bring that 60 across to the left-hand side by subtracting it. And then we could factorize. Now let's think of our factors of 60. Maybe I'll just pop them here in a different color. 1, 60, 2, 30, 3, 20, 4, 15, 5, 12, 6, 10, and that's it. So those are our factors. Now again, we've got a type 3 here, so we've got one positive and we've got one negative, and they should add up to 0. They should multiply to make 60, and the larger one should be positive, and the difference between them should be 7. This one here, I think. So we want a plus 12 and a minus 5. So that means that our sides, so x is equal to 5 or minus 12. Now we're just going to take that positive value here, 5. Therefore, if this is 5, then the other side must be 5 plus 7. So sides of 5 and 12. Okie dokie. Number 4. I've got another length of a rectangle exceeds the width by 2. Find the width of the rectangle. Okay. So we can use what we did in the previous one. We've got x times x plus 2. Oh, the diagonal. No. Okay, read the question, Mr. K. Okay, I'm going to do. Here's my little diagram. We've got x, and the length of the rectangle exceeds the width by 2. So this is x plus 2. And the diagonal. This is the diagonal. That's 10 centimeters long, and we've got to find the width of the rectangle. Now, this is a right angle here, so we can actually use Pythagoras Theorem here. The hypotenuse squared is equal to the other two sides squared, like that. And this is probably a little bit too hard for what you have done, but I will show you anyway. I'm going to expand that using FOIL. X squared plus 4x plus 4 plus x squared. And I'm going to come up here. I'm going to join all my like terms together, so I get 2x squared plus 4x plus 4. Is that correct? Yes. I'll bring that 100 across to the other side, so 0 equals 2x squared plus 4x plus, 4 take away 100 is negative 96. Now I can divide everything by 2. So 0 equals x squared. 0 divided by 2 is 0. 2x squared divided by 2 is x squared, sorry. 4x divided by 2 is 2x. And 96 divided by 2, so negative 96 divided by 2 is negative 48. And now you can see that we have type, what is that, type 3. So we've got one positive and one negative. We can tell because we've got this negative at the end. That tells us that. And the bigger number is positive because we've got this here. So we're looking at factors of 48 that are different by 2. Well, different by 2, I can see straight away, I'm thinking my factors are going to be 6 and 8. 6 8 to 48, and I need my bigger one to be 8, and my smaller one to be 6. And therefore, x is equal to 6 or minus 8. That's the work that we were doing yesterday, remember? Look at the first bracket here. How do I make that bracket equal to 0? I do it by going minus 8 plus 8 is 0. The second bracket, 6 minus 6 is 0. Okay, those are my two answers. Now, we needed to know, what did they want us to find? What do we want to find here? The width of the rectangle. The width is 6. Okay, I've got one more question. I'll just copy this and move it down so I've got some more space. Okay, my last question here is the area of the rectangle exceeds the area of the square by 24, and I've got to find x. Okay, so the area of the rectangle you can see is going to be x minus 6 times x minus 3, because we want to do this by that. If it exceeds the area of the square, that means it's greater than the area of the square by 24. So if we take away 24 from the area of the rectangle, then we should end up with the area of the square. Now the area of the square is x minus 7 times x minus 7. Now I'm going to use FOIL and go ahead and expand these. So x squared O minus 3x, I inners minus 6x, L plus 18 minus 24. And I'm going to do FOIL on the other side too. F x squared O minus 7x, I minus 7x, L lasts plus 49. Now I'm going to gather my like terms. Minus 3x minus 6x is minus 9x. 18 minus 24 is negative 6. On the other side, x squared minus 14x plus 49. I'm going to move everything to the left-hand side. The x squareds will cancel out, since if I take an x squared across, minus it from this side, it will be gone from that side too, if I do the same to both sides. If I add 14x to both sides, to get rid of it from the right-hand side, I will get 14x take away 9x, which is 5x. And I will leave the 49 on the right-hand side, and I'll add 6 to it, which will give me 55. So 49 plus 6 is 55, and therefore x is 11. And that is pretty much that. So you'll be using some similar kind of logic in your exercise today. Please let me know if you're having any trouble. I'm sure there'll be some among you who are able to do this. Remember, the answer books are at the back of room 209, so perhaps the teacher might allow these to be brought to your room. Alright, let me know if you have any problems, and take care.